The weight of the Ring of Gyges felt strangely light on Ethan's finger, yet it carried the crushing burden of years spent unseen once. The thrill of invisibility had pulsed through him, slipping through crowded markets untouched, overhearing secrets like whispers on the wind, taking small treasures without consequence. But the isolation had seeped in slowly, a chilling frost settling on his soul. He walked among people, a ghost in a vibrant world, unable to share a genuine smile, a warm touch, or even a simple conversation. Laughter felt distant, belonging a forgotten dream. He possessed everything material his invisible hands could grasp, yet his heart echoed in an empty chamber, starving for the very connection his power denied him one rain-lashed night. Driven by a hollow craving for something, anything, to fill the void, Ethan targeted the grand mansion of the reclusive Lord Eris. The ring's familiar coolness spread over him as he vanished, a phantom gliding through the downpour. Inside, amidst opulent silence, he found the Lord's fabled sapphire necklace, a cold, hard thing radiating stolen beauty. His fingers closed around it, the act feeling numb, mechanical. But as he turned to leave, a loose floorboard groaned loudly beneath his foot. Instinctively, he pressed the ring, waiting for the comforting cloak of nothingness. It didn't come. Panic, sharp and icy, shot through him. He stood exposed, muddy and dripping, the necklace gleaming accusingly in his hand, directly under the gaze of a startled maid holding a lamp. The ring was just cold metal. Its magic was utterly, terrifyingly gone. The consequences descended swiftly and publicly. Ethan was dragged before the city magistrates, a spectacle for the very crowds he'd once moved through unseen. The sapphire necklace, his muddy footprints leading to the broken window, the maid's clear testimony. The evidence was irrefutable. He stood in the harsh light of the courtroom, feeling more naked and vulnerable than ever before. The eyes of the city burning into him. Shame, a hot, corrosive wave, washed over him, more punishing than any sentence they could pronounce. He saw the disappointment on faces, the righteous anger, the fear. He was no longer a phantom, but a man defined by a single, ugly act, visible in the worst possible way. The gavel fell, sealing his fate within the cold stone walls of the city prison. The clang of the heavy cell door echoed the finality of his situation. Weeks bled into months within the cramped, gray confines. Ethan shared his cell with an old man named Silas, whose eyes held a quiet depth that unnerved him. Silas spoke little at first, observing Ethan's profound despair. One evening, as the last light faded from the high, barred window, Silas finally broke the heavy silence. That ring, he murmured, his voice like dry leaves, it didn't just hide your body, lad, it hid your heart from others. Yes, but worse, it hid your heart from yourself. You forgot the weight of a look, the warmth of a hand. Being unseen, it rots the soul faster than any prison stone. The word struck Ethan with the force of truth. He had become invisible inside long before the ring failed. Silas's wisdom became a slow dripping bomb. Ethan began to see his past actions not just as crimes against others, but as a profound violence against his own humanity. He started small, helping Silas with his chores, sharing his meager rations, listening to the old man's stories of a life fully lived, mistakes and all. He apologized to the guards he'd once silently mocked, offered genuine thanks for small kindnesses. It felt awkward, vulnerable, terrifyingly real. Yet, with each hesitant connection, each act of clumsy decency done in plain sight, a strange warmth began to flicker within him, a fragile ember fighting against the years of cold isolation. He learned the names of his fellow prisoners, heard their sorrows, and found solace in shared burdens. After 2 long years, Ethan stood again before the magistrates, this time under vastly different circumstances. Guards spoke of his quiet helpfulness. The prison chaplain noted his sincere remorse and efforts at reparation. Silas offered a quiet testament to his changed character. His sentence was commuted. Stepping out of the prison gates, the unfiltered sunlight was blinding, the noise of the city overwhelming, the press of bodies almost unbearable. He was free, utterly visible, and achingly vulnerable. He walked through the bustling market, no longer a ghost, but a man acutely aware of every glance, Every potential judgment, the world was painfully bright and loud. But it was real. He felt the rough cobblestones beneath his worn shoes, the warmth of the sun on his skin, the curious glance of a child. Sensations long numbed. He didn't go home. Instead, he walked for hours, drawn inevitably towards the wild cliffs overlooking the churning sea. The Ring of Gyges was still in his pocket, a cold, heavy secret. He pulled it out, the gold band catching the dying light. It looked insignificant now, a tarnished trinket holding only the memory of profound loneliness. Closing his eyes, Ethan remembered the crushing isolation, the hollowness of unearned possession, the terrifying exposure when the magic failed. He remembered Silas's words about hidden hearts with a deep, shuddering breath that felt like his first true one in years. He drew back his arm. He didn't need invisibility anymore. He craved the light. The ring sailed through the air, a tiny, glittering arc against the vast sky, before vanishing forever into the deep, forgiving embrace of the sea. Ethan stood tall on the cliff, fully visible, facing the wind and the wide horizon, finally understanding that true power wasn't in disappearing, but in having the courage to be seen.